Hi everyone, I'm back with the next chapter of The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. Today we're going to read chapter 18, The Mermaid's Message. Connor was positive he was dead. The fall into the ocean must have killed him because wherever he was, he had never been so relaxed. He felt like he was somewhere in the glorious state between being asleep and being awake, a place he knew very well. His eyes were closed, and he was lying down on the softest surface he had ever laid on in his entire life. The air was cool and refreshing. It smelled a little salty, but he was sure he was only imagining that because the last thing he had seen was the ocean. He opened his eyes a tiny bit and saw his sister lying next to him. She must have died too, but she seemed so peaceful that he didn't worry about her. He couldn't have worried about anything if he'd tried. He felt so wonderful that wherever he was, all he could feel was enjoyment. We must be in heaven, he thought. Connor opened his eyes wider. His vision was a little blurry, but he could see so many colorful objects moving in all different directions above him. They looked human the more his eyes adjusted. They must be angels, he told himself, and went back to sleep. Just as he drifted off, a thought occurred to him. Do you sleep when you're dead? Do you feel and smell the air around you? He must have been alive after all to be experiencing all these things. But where was he? He opened his eyes as wide as possible so they would adjust faster. He and his sister were lying in a large clamshell at the bottom of the ocean. They were in an underwater cave of sorts, but they were able to breathe in a large air bubble that surrounded them. There were coral pillars in the cave with dark rocky walls behind them. A sandy floor was underneath them, and they were facing an endless blue ocean. Swimming around the top of the bubble was a gathering of mermaids. They were gorgeous and colorful. All of them were pale but had long hair that matched their tails in vibrant sea colors. There were blues and greens, purples and pinks. They were friendly and waved at Connor as soon as they noticed he was awake. Connor looked down at his wounded arm and saw a seaweed bandage covering his scratch. One of them must have wrapped it. Alex, Connor said. Alex, wake up. He tapped her on the shoulder and she stirred to life. Asked Alex, who was in an extremely relaxed state of her own. Mermaids, Connor said. There are mermaids swimming around us. This caught Alex's attention and her eyes fluttered open. It took her a few moments to realize where she was and that this was actually happening. She sat straight up on the clam. Connor, why are we at the bottom of the ocean? Beats me, he said. Check out this bubble around us. He noticed that the longer they stayed in it, the smaller it became as they breathed in the air. The last thing I remember is being chased by wolves and then you jerk, she said, remembering being pushed off the cliff. She hit him repeatedly with open hands. Hey, stop it. It was either that or be attacked by wolves. Pick your poison, Connor said. If we survived the fall, how did we get down here, Alex thought. We brought you here, said a mermaid swimming above them. She had long, soft turquoise hair that matched the shimmering scales on her tail. The sea foam spirit wants to speak with you. The sea foam spirit? Connor asked. She's on her way, said another mermaid with pink hair and a pink tail. I don't think these mermaids get out much, Connor whispered to Alex. Here she comes now, said a mermaid of purple coloring. Sure enough, a cluster of sea foam drifted through the ocean toward Connor and Alex. It came into their bubble and swirled around before hovering in front of them. It slowly morphed to the shape of a mermaid. Hello, children, said an airy voice from inside the sea foam. Hello, Alex said, tilting her head like a puppy, looking at something peculiar. Howdy, said Connor, tensing every muscle in his forehead. I hope you are well, the sea foam spirit said. She was frothy, and her foam was constantly rejuvenating itself. I instructed my mermaids to take very good care of you. You poor things nearly drowned when you fell into the ocean. Alex gave her brother a really dirty look. Did we? She said. Are you the sea foam spirit? Yes, the spirit said, but you and your brother may know me best as the Little Mermaid. Alex's face lit up. This was one person she hadn't thought she would meet in the land of stories. You're the Little Mermaid? She asked, completely enthralled. Good Lord, what happened to you? Connor asked. I thought you died, Alex said. Not exactly, the spirit said. When I was turned into a human by the sea witch all those years ago, I had to marry the prince in order for the spell to last. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, the prince married someone else, and my body turned into sea foam. I am no longer a physical form, but my spirit lives on. That's weird, Connor said. Oh, that's wonderful, Alex said. I was always so sad after reading your story. Not many people know your real story. They always assume you had a happily ever after life. There are many who don't, the spirit said. I believe you two are looking for something that once belonged to me. I don't think so, Connor said. Wait, do you mean the saber from the deepest sea? Alex asked anxiously. Do you know what it is? How do you know we're looking for it? Connor asked suspiciously. I know many things the average entity doesn't, the spirit said, especially things said or felt near water. Swan Lake, Alex said. We were talking about the wishing spell items we had left to collect while we were traveling across Swan Lake. So, Miss Foam Lady, formerly known as the Little Mermaid, Connor said, what is the saber from the deepest sea? We've been trying to figure it out since we got here. Excuse me for 1 second. I need to let the dog out.